segment. And I'm your host, Bobby Butler. And today we got a legend from the 561 Delray Beach, Boynton Beach, South Florida area, Mr. Mike Rumph. Mike, welcome to the show.
Hey, thanks for having me, Bobby. I appreciate it, man. I've been wanting to come on for a long time, and you finally got me on, so I'm very excited.
Well, awesome, man. Hey, listen, man. One thing I'm finding out about this show, we have a rich tradition, man, back home. And we haven't even tapped the surface with guys that need to be on this show, right?
Yes, no doubt.
So listen. So Mike Rumph, Atlantic High superstar. You were a Super Prep All-American in high school. Super Prep National top 50 players coming out of high school. That's big, right? And
yeah, I love it.
Absolutely, man. You're a rock star.
Especially coming from where we from, Bobby. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't understand. You got a lot of people be like, I like to go and be like, anybody heard of Boynton Beach? And the room just go quiet. And I love that. Right? I love that because I came from out of there. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Well, look, man, I mean, your dad was an athlete. Your uncle was an athlete, man. You know, your uncle, man, we started competing against each other in middle school in basketball, man. He was a monster, man.
Wow, I didn't know that.
He's a monster, man. And so, but listen, man, let's just talk about it, right? So, out of Delray Beach, out of Atlantic High School, you were not just a safety. You played offense as well, right?
Yes, I played my senior year. I played receiver, safety. I was the kicker. I was the punter.
Oh, wow.
I did all that. Punt return. Yeah, whatever they needed, I went ahead and did it.
You did it, man. Well, you had to be an athlete to do all that, man.
No doubt.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this: as a kid, were you a multiple sport kid, or you just played football?
I tried everything. So my dad, like you say, my whole family was basketball. Everybody 6'6", 6'7" in my family. I'm the only one that turned out to be 6'2". So they groomed me to be a basketball player. They raised me with the ball in my hand. But I always liked football from early on. I played with the Delray Rocks. And then later on, I played for the Boynton Beach Border. I'm from Boynton Beach. Let's get that straight. Because everybody see the Delray, Atlantic. I'm from Boynton. I moved to Delray, and I had to go to Atlantic. But I did soccer,
really?
basketball.
Okay.
Yeah, I did. I ran track since 8th grade. I ran track from 8th grade all the way throughout UM up until me going to the NFL. I ran track my whole career.
Oh, wow.
So
Wow. That's neat, man. I didn't know that.
Yeah, state champ, triple jumper, long jump, 400 meters, 4x1. I did all that, man. I just stayed involved. And then, like I said, basketball was something I did as well.
Right. Well, I'm just a firm believer, man, that the other sports help develop your football game. I was glad I played basketball. I was glad that I was a track guy as well. I ran track at Florida State. I didn't get on the track team until my last 2 years at Florida State because I was scared of the talent, right? Yeah. We had some monsters. We had some monsters in the room back then.
Yeah, you sure did.
Track. And so I saw those guys and competed against some of those guys, at the state level in high school. And I really didn't think I could compete with them until I got there. Got a little stronger,
Yeah.
And so that always helps. And then I got there and started getting it in, man.
Well, that's the same for me. I'm sorry, Bobby, to cut you off, but that's the same for me. Like, just being an athlete, a natural athlete, going into UM, it was kind of intimidating. I'm looking at the stats as I'm getting there. Like, this dude run a 4.4, this dude run 4.3, this guy bench 450 pounds. So I'm like, man, am I gonna be able to compete here? But the difference was, you probably was the same. I was a better football player. When it came to football, I could do whatever you needed me to do, and nobody was my work. Yeah, so I felt the same way going in like you felt.
Right. And it's amazing. We had a guy, I always say that this guy who came in with me at Florida State was the most important recruit in Florida State history. And that was a nose guard named Ron Simmons. I don't know if you ever heard of Ron Simmons. He was a wrestler. You may know him as Farouk. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. He's a big time wrestler, but man, a great college football player, man, was just outstanding. I mean, he came in, man, 6'2", 235, benching 550.
That's crazy, bro.
It was crazy, man. I was a little old weakling. I'm actually the first time I ever lifted free weights was at Florida State, right? Because at Atlantic, in my day, we had a universal machine. We didn't have free weight, right?
Yeah.
And I was weak in that weight room, right? So The first time I benched at Florida State, I benched 165, right? And
Wow.
on the way to 145 pounds, man. I was a little dude, man.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
thank God I could run. So that always helped me. And I wasn't afraid to play the game. So, that always helped me. That was God's gift to me to help me play the game. So amazing, man. So, all right. So you did all those sports, right? You tripped. Now, see, now I'm dating myself. Now, I got to tell you this. So when I was in high school, there was no triple jump. There was no 4x1.
What?
There was no 4x1 in the state of Florida. Can you believe that?
That's crazy. What?
That's crazy, right? And
So
in those days, man, we didn't have meters. We ran yards.
yeah, I remember that. I
Yeah,
remember that
we
transition.
ran
Yeah.
yards. So it's a whole different thing. So our sprint relay, we called it the A80 relay. Everybody ran a 220.
Yeah, I remember that. I
Or
remember
200. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was our sprint relay. But
Wow.
it was all fun, man. So let's talk about you. Now I saw you play at Atlantic one game.
Really?
When you were at Atlantic, right?
Wow.
And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think y'all played Spanish River that night. Did you play against Jason Gethers?
Yeah, yeah.
I was at that game at Atlantic. I saw you play for the first time.
Yeah. Hey, we won that game, so
Y'all put it on them. Y'all put it on.
We was the underdogs coming in, and nobody expected us to win, man.
Right.
I'm not. I think I knocked me and Jason hit real hard, and I knocked myself out, and I think I knocked him out too. I remember that play.
Yeah.
That was my first concussion I got when I hit him.
All right. So you got a concussion tonight against Jason, right?
Yeah.
So let's just back up 22 years. All right. I'm a starting 10th grader, 135 pounds, bro. 135 pounds. And we playing Forest Hills. And the tailback for Forest Hill is O.J. Anderson.
Wow.
A Hurricane alumni, right?
No way. I didn't know he played for Forest Hill.
He played at Forest Hills. He did.
Wow.
Bro, let me tell you something. I had the best game I had my whole 10th grade year. And we got into the fourth quarter. And they ran the ISO. They ran the I formation. They ran the ISO. I played safety in high school.
Yeah.
And man, that whole open, Mike, I saw it and I hit it. I just went downhill, man. Next thing you know, bam! That's all I remember. And what they told me what happened, they said I got up, but I walked into their huddle, and so they took me off the field.
Wow.
I was done for the night. So we always laugh about that, man. He's a great friend, a great guy to compete against, man. Because when he was at Miami, he was 2 years ahead of me, but I played against him twice.
Yeah, yeah.
And he tell his story all the time, right? And I let him have it, but it's not true. All right.
Yeah.
So we played Miami in Miami my sophomore year. It was early in the game, first quarter. I'm playing left corner, and I come up. They run a ball off tackle, and he's coming off tackle, but I can't come up to take the receiver on, right? Like a start block. I went to take him on, front him up. I was going to dish him and see if I can get in the help. Man, the dude cut me. OJ hit the hole, went 80 yards.
Wow.
He went 80 yards. Now, I never chased him. I was on the ground. So he tell everybody, I'm a 300-yard dash guy, and he outran, and I couldn't catch it, right? 80 yards. So I said, Juice, if you look at the tape, it's number 24 who was running behind you, not 21, number 24.
Yeah. You would have walked him down, man.
I would. Hey, listen, man. If I would just got up, he would have got 20 yards. I promise you.
Yeah, that's another thing we take pride in, man. Like being from Boynton, like you don't get ran down, and you always run somebody down.
And you always go get them.
You gotta go get them. That's the biggest. People don't understand how much pride we took in that, man. Like if somebody go and you run them down, to this day they'll be still. Man, remember that day ran them? What? And don't get ran down. So that's funny you say that. We take pride in that, man.
Oh, absolutely. So, man, you go out of Atlantic High School, you go to the U, right? So, and I know everybody recruits you in the country because you're an All-American, big-time player. Why the University of Miami for you?
Because just growing up one thing my dad did do besides coaching me with basketball, he showed me a lot of film. He's always had a VHS, so he just
Okay.
let me watch all the games. Man, I got all the games, so I used to watch. I like, they got the jerseys up, how
Right,
they
right, right,
celebrated. You know what I'm saying? How hard they played. I felt like,
right.
what I'm saying, they had that dominate mentality. And then
Yeah.
secondly, when I moved to Delray, my next door neighbor was he was friend with Tony Gator. Anthony Gator was he was
Ah,
like a receiver for the Hurricanes. So my
okay.
first big time game, NFL or college, was a University of Miami game that I got to go watch Tony Gator play
Oh,
up in the
wow.
Orange Bowl.
That's
And I
awesome,
can
man.
remember I went out there and I seen they had that helmet. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The team was in the helmet and they were jumping around, so the helmet was
Mhm.
bouncing, and then that
Right.
smoke came out, and I was like, wow,
You
like
were done. You
wow,
were done. You were
that
done.
yeah, that I'm done. I'm done. So that was it, just to see, watching those games and seeing all the players that came out of there. I knew it.
Right.
And throughout the process of recruiting, a lot of teams came at me real hard. Florida State came to the end. Mick
Mhm.
Andrews and
Right.
Ohio State and those guys stuck to the end, but I knew in my mind
Mhm.
the whole time I was going to be a Hurricane.
Right. Well, it's amazing. I tell kids all the time, don't go somewhere because, your mom or your daddy, or even as a kid, you may have said you want to go there, but I always tell them, listen to what's on the inside, right? Because
Yeah,
I can't explain to you why I went to Florida State. I mean, Florida State hadn't won anything when I went, right?
yeah.
So Coach Bowden took over the year before I got there. They were 5-6. All right. The year before that, I think they were like 1-10. The year before that, I think they were like 0-11. I think they won 3 games the
Wow.
previous. So it was like that. So
Yeah.
Coach Bowden won 5 games. And so I went up there on a recruiting trip. And I'm telling you, I can't explain it. I went into the office. After speaking with him, when I walked out, I told my mom, I'm playing for that guy. And it was the
Wow.
first trip I took. I said, it was something about him. My heart just connected with this dude, man. I said,
Yeah.
man, I'm going to play with this guy. And I have friends laugh at me. Man, you going to that school? Yeah, man, I can't explain it. But after my 4 years, they saw what I saw, right?
Yeah.
Because we turned it around. My freshman year, we were 10-2. My sophomore year, we were 8-3. My junior year, first undefeated regular season class, we were 11-0. We lost to Oklahoma in the Orange Bowl. And then my senior year, we were ranked number 2 going into the bowl game. We were 10-2. We beat Pitt. We beat Nebraska. They were ranked number 3 back-to-back weeks. Miami beat us by 1 point in the regular season. That's the only game we lost, and we was ranked number 2 going into the bowl game. And so we were
Wow.
right there. We were right there on the cusp of something great. And then, of course, they went like that from then on.
It's crazy, man. Your career goes like along with me, man, because I went to the year before they was 5-6. So,
Really?
I
Wow.
came to, that's when they had the little probation stuff going on.
Right,
So they
right,
didn't have
right.
a lot of scholarships. So,
Uh-huh.
I came in and like you say, Coach Davis was the one who recruited me.
Mm-hmm.
But my first year was 9-4. No, I'm sorry, yeah, 9-4. The second year was 9-3. No, I'm sorry, it was backward. 9-3, 9-4 my sophomore year.
Okay.
We went 11-1
Oh,
my
wow.
junior year. Yeah, we
Okay.
lost to Washington. We went out to Washington and played in Seattle. We had never, we never been over there. We were so busy.
That was a long trip.
Bro, we are looking at Mount Rainier and like, man, look at that, man. They got Sasquatches out here. We weren't paying attention. Them boys snuck
Exactly.
up on us.
Exactly.
And it was one of the loudest games I ever played in out there, so it was loud. And then
Wow.
my
Wow.
senior year, we ended up going undefeated, and that was when we won it. But that's crazy. Your
Wow.
career was similar to mine.
It was similar. I didn't get a chance to win the title like you did.
I know you was right there, though. Y'all was right there. That's different.
We were right there. And to be honest with you, if we'd have had a playoff system like today,
Yes.
we'd have won that thing, right?
Yes.
We'd have won because we were arguing, no question. And I'm not saying this because I played there. There's no question nobody could beat us that year. Nobody could beat us that year. And Georgia was undefeated. And number 6, they picked number 6 Notre Dame to go play them for the title. We were ranked number 2 in the country. How do you do that, man? How do you do that, right?
That's
but
crazy.
It was the way things were back in the day, and nothing you can do about it. So cool,
yeah.
man. So listen, man, you had a great career at Miami. Now you played safety in high school, but when you got to Miami, they moved you to corner.
Yeah. So
did they recruit you as a corner the whole time, or just a DB?
DB, man. So I was going in there. I was like the number 2 safety in the country. And it was a Florida State guy that was in front of me, Chris Hope. ended up going to Florida State, and he was the #1 safety out of high school, and I was
Okay.
right behind him. And I went to my first day on campus at UM. When I got there, Chuck Pagano said, "We're gonna try you at corner." And I'm
Wow.
like, man, you know what? I played a little bit of corner in high school, but I'm like,
Right.
I'm up for the challenge. I just kept in my mind, this is gonna be a good
Right.
challenge for me,
Right.
and it ended up
Right.
really helping me make my career what it was by making that transition. And it's funny because Ed Reed was there at safety, and I used to always go up there.
Man.
My senior year in high school, I had to take the tri-rail to the metro rail and go
Right.
watch practice. So,
Right.
and I remember
Wow.
watching Ed Reed, and I'm like, man, he's not that good, man. He had he pigeon-toed. Look at this
Right. Right.
man. And so, funny story, I ended up telling my I played in the All-Star game, and I told one of my homeboys,
Right.
like, man, I'm gonna take Ed Reed's spot. He's not that good. And he went to school with Delvin Brown, who was a safety opposite Reed, and he told Reed. So my whole freshman year, Reed and all the DB, they never really talked to me because they said he
Right. Right.
cocky.
Right. Right.
Yeah, they treated me real bad. They ignored me every day, take my locker up. So I'm like, man, but I tell Reed this day, like, bro, I was gonna take your spot. He just laughed, man. I really thought I was gonna take his spot, but they moved me to corner. Now I see why, because they had him up there,
Right, absolutely. But it's amazing. Matter of fact, I ran into Ed not long ago in Atlanta.
Oh, okay.
I think he's living here now, if I'm not mistaken.
He does. He does. He got a house there.
Yeah. But man, that guy, Ed Reed, we can always argue, just like the argument about LeBron and Jordan, right? We can argue all day, but in your generation, you're gonna always think the guy in your generation was the best guy.
Yep.
But Ed Reed, man, he might be the best free safety of all time, man. I mean, you gotta give it to him, man. I mean, he's smart, intelligent. I mean, he did everything. I mean, he was athletic enough. He had great hands. He made big plays, and he would strike you.
Yep.
I mean, he'll lay the wood on you, right? And so I really liked him. I enjoyed watching him play when he was playing.
Well, Ed was just early on in our career, because keep in mind we spent 4 years together. So he was he was obsessed with film. That's one thing that's a word I think that when you want to be great, you got to be obsessed with this game, like Bill Belichick, and look at a lot of those great coaches and great players. They're obsessed with watching film. That was Ed. Ed had our junior year, his senior year, his apartment, he would just have a room with film constantly playing. So throughout the day, when he walked through that room, he might see something that he hadn't saw. So he was a film junkie. He was the one that really showed me, like, let's get the team in. Let's say 6:30 in the morning, the whole defense, let's watch 30 minutes of film. And don't be late. There wasn't no coaches telling us that. It was Reed and myself and Vince Wilfork and some of those other guys. And we watched that film. It'd be dead silent. I never forget, it was dead silent. Nobody ain't yapping, no talking. And then 7 o'clock come, all right, y'all, let's go to class. And we just go. But Reed was an avid film studier, man. And like you said, his ball skills, he could have been a receiver. He would line up and go one-on-one, play corner, and then he started striking later. Early on, he was a good tackler, but he started finding out how to strike and get that ball out too.
Exactly.
So he's a good guy for me to be around.
Right. Well, I tell you one thing. When you get to a certain point in the game, right? In high school, I can tell you, hands down, I was the best athlete on the field. No question about it, right? Yeah. I went to Florida State. I was the best athlete on the field, right? But then when you start playing on Sunday, bruh, it's a whole different thing now. It's a whole different thing. And so you're not the best athlete, but here's a separation. Study. Study. That's the key. And I think what it does when you truly get involved and get engaged in film study, you fall in love with the game. You fall in love with it because now, okay, when I go outside and I'm competing against you and we throw a go ball and we both jump up and I jump up high, go to the highest point, bring it down, and I can say, yeah, I'm a better athlete. But now you can go in the film room and find out everything they're doing. Yeah. Now you don't have to play so hard. You're playing smart now.
Yes.
And that was a key, Mike, to allow me to play 12 years. Because in my 9th year, the year they drafted Deion, right? I was in my 9th year. Deion came here running 4.2. Deion could run fast as he had to. I don't know. I think he was faster than 4.2. I've seen him do some things in a game. This is no joke. And I'm right there and I do this. Did he just do that? It's like I couldn't believe we were playing the Vikings one year, and we were in a cover 2. So I'm playing left corner, he playing the right corner. And I'm on Anthony Carter, our homeboy, played at Suncoast, right?
Yeah.
And Anthony was the real deal now.
Yeah.
I don't know how much you know about Anthony Carter, what you heard about AC. He was the real deal.
Yeah.
And so we playing a cover 2. He run inside. I'm jamming him inside. Tight end comes. I let him go. Kramer hits him right there between me and Jesse Tucker, who's the middle linebacker. Bam! And he went north, and our free safety was coming down. Scott Case was coming down. He gave him a move, and Scott went one way.
Yeah.
And he was gone. I said, oh, he gone. Man, Dion was on the line of scrimmage on the other side. Bro, he went and got him. And I'm telling you, he was running so fast, he looked like cartoon. I'm like, what? Did he just do that? He just called AC, right?
Yeah.
It was impressive. I've seen him do so many things. But anyway, when his rookie year, when he came into camp, that was the year when I started turning over the run, I couldn't run as fast anymore. It scared the daylights out of me, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I'm like, well, what's wrong with me, right?
Yeah.
What's wrong with me, man? It was my 9th year.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that year when things started to slow down for me. And so film study was so important. I'm glad I picked up that habit, a lot sooner than that because, it taught me a lot. And then it was good because I was the leader of the group, just like Ed Reed was, in college. And I got Dion, I got everybody together, and we started taking notes and keeping booklets on the personnel. Not only the receivers and running back, we kept stuff on offensive coordinators. Yeah. So the league guy get fired, he O coordinator for the Colts. The next year he could be in Seattle somewhere, right? And we played the Seahawks. Hey, they go Rob Dahauer right there. All right, he's doing the same thing he did in Baltimore, right? And so things like that. So there's nothing like film stuff. Nothing like it.
Yeah, that sets you apart right there, man. And a lot of times it takes guys a couple years to understand that, like you said, because you got so much talent coming in. But if you can come in with that film study, the game will slow down for you, and you can play a long time. And studying them coordinators, play a big part in that, man, because everybody got the talent. But the thing that stands out, you don't see a lot of guys in there. You're like, what is he doing in the league? This guy is terrible. But he's in the 8th year.
Right, exactly, right.
He's really good at something, or he got a knack for studying film, and he just has something good about him. So that is the part that sets the part. The thing that helped me too was not only play 6, but just being able to visualize and meditate on stuff. I learned that early in my career. And to this day, as a coach, I have my corners. They used to meditate, and when I was coaching at the high school I coached at, I had my team lay down and visualize their success and see them doing those things. Man, that mind is a huge advantage when you got that structure. You can see things happen before it do. So I can say that's the one thing. If I could tell young players is learn how to visualize and see everything you practice all week. Lay down and see it happen in that game. You know what I'm saying? I lay down, I smell that cut grass.
Yes, sir.
Hear the sound of the band, and you know what I'm saying? Just the feeling of that little nervousness and that sweat dripping, all that get me in the mode like I'm playing the game, but I'm sitting there meditating on it. And I just see them play. I see myself doing it. And a lot of time after the game, I have players come to me and say, Coach, I visualized it. I saw it. And it happened. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a powerful thing.
Well, Mike, that's powerful, man, because it's amazing. I'm listening to you talk. There's really no secret to being great. You just got to catch it and own it, right?
Yep.
So when I was a kid, I had a great imagination. I mean, I was on the football field 24/7, right? That's why in high school I was an average student, because I was in classroom, I was daydreaming.
Wow.
I was on the field all day long. I get in my car, I'd be on I-95 back home. I'd be in my car, and every time I got in my car, I was like running the football, right? So if a car in that lane, I'll speed up, right?
Yeah.
I may get in that right lane, and things like that. Yeah. It was just always, football was always in my head all the time. And then I heard something one time by the great Jim Brown, right? And this changed my life, because as a kid, I took this up, right? After a game, a reporter came up to Jim Brown and said, well, Mr. Brown, that was a great play you made on that touchdown. we've never seen you do that before.
Hmm.
And he responded, I've done it 1,000,000 times. And the guy kept saying, man, you've never done that before. He said, listen, I've done it 1,000,000 times in my head over and over and over again. He said, I've done it. I've been there, right? And so as a kid, I'm glad you spoke on that. As a kid, I started to visualize things I wanted to do in a game. I used to visualize, playing corner and they run the post pattern, right? And I'm shagging from the backside. And they throw that ball up and I leap up over that guy's back with one hand and bring it in, right? Yeah. I used to see that all the time.
Yes.
And then my senior year, we're playing Florida and I'm on Chris Collinsworth and they throw that play. And I jump up like that. He's 6'4", right? And I'm 5'11". I jump up that one hand. Bam! Bring that ball in just like that, right?
Wow, that's crazy.
But I've done it. I did it 1,000,000 times. It really wasn't the first time. I put it in here. The Bible says, as a man thinketh, so is he, right?
Yes.
Your thoughts are the most powerful thing. And here's the good thing about your thoughts. You control them.
Yes.
You control them, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so we get these young players to understand that, man, it's no telling, man, how far they can go.
Yep.
It's just no telling, man. I'm glad you coaching, man. So you get me all excited today. Let me go put my helmet on. I got a helmet somewhere. What way that? Man, that's awesome, man. And so, all right, so you played in the league, and you were a first-round draft choice. I think you and I are the only two first-round draft choices that played in Atlanta. You think that's right?
Right. Hold on. Yeah.
I think it's me and you, man.
That's it.
I think it's me and you, right? Brandon Flowers should have been number one, but you know how that go. It don't matter. It's what you do when you get there.
Are you in the Atlantic Hall of Fame?
I don't even know. I should be.
I should be too. I ain't in there. I'm not bitter or nothing, but golly.
I didn't even know they had a Hall of Fame, right?
Yeah, I got a friend of mine I work with, and he from Fort Myers. He's just like, man, I gotta go home. They got me in the Fort Myers High School Hall of Fame. I'm like, man, are you kidding me, man? Like, I'm not even in my school. That would make me think about it. I'm like, Right. So we gotta check on that. We gotta see what's going on with that right there.
Hey, listen, man. We got a long tradition of players come out of that, man. It's just like unbelievable. And the crazy thing is, you and I made it. We made it to the highest level. So, and in most people's opinion, we did great work. We made it. But there are some guys who didn't even go to college that I played with that can flat out play football, man.
Yeah.
Flat out get it. Some of them, if somebody would have saw me as a kid, right? This is what they would say. You can ask your dad this too. They probably would have said about me, "Oh, he good, but he too little. He ain't going nowhere." Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And so, and just like we're talking about your thoughts, you know how many times I heard that?
Yeah. Me too.
But I didn't think that, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, so when I go to Florida State on my trip with the meet Coach Bowden, the coach who was recruiting me, Mike, told me this. He said, "Now, Bobby, when you go in the room, don't take your jacket off. When you put your jacket on, don't take it off." And I didn't have no clue why. Why I can't take it? I just couldn't put it together. So I go in there, man. He talking, and I remember I was getting hot, man. I had this jacket on, and it was November. I was there in November, so they had the heat on in the office and everything. Man, I was sweating, but I didn't take it off because the coach kept telling me to take it off. Well, fast forward to 2-a-days, August, right? And I get to camp, and we have to weigh in. In college and in the NFL, we had to weigh in before practice, and you weigh out, right?
Yeah.
So they check your water weight, make sure your weight. So I'm weighing in, man, 145. So imagine how much I weigh when I'm weighing out.
Yeah.
You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so Coach, I didn't know this at the time, but Coach Bowden was getting on there. Y'all got this kid up here. He's a liability. So, Mike, this is what happened. So I didn't know this was going on, but that same week, the first week of practice, we had an All-American tight end. I knocked him unconscious in practice. Laid him out. Right? And when that happened, it was a wrap.
Yeah.
They didn't know how small I was. And so, I played my freshman year, made some play, won some games, blocking kicks and things like that. Had a few picks as a freshman, so I started the thing. But that's the thing, man. I never thought I was too small to play. I never thought that. And see, now you were big. You were a big player. So when you went to Miami, how much did you weigh?
I went there at 178.
Ooh,
Yeah,
man, I never played. Listen, Mike, I never played 178 in my whole career on any level. On any level.
Wow.
On any level.
Wow. That's
I was a
frowned
little
upon
dude.
right now, boy. That's frowned upon.
Well, of course. But think about it. It was a little bit there too. But here's the thing. If they really know how much I weighed, Florida State they wouldn't have gave me a scholarship.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't. They lied. The coaches lied, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I got in, right? So 4 years later, I'm All-American. I'm a first rounder.
Wow.
I weigh 155. I weigh 155 as a rookie. But remember this, Mike, the bump and run rule just changed.
Yeah.
So Mel Blount made them change the rule.
Yeah.
And Mel Blount was 6'4", 220. And I remember watching Mel Blount my rookie year getting dogged out, the great Mel Blount, because he couldn't beat guys up down the field no more. But then guys like me became the commodity.
Yeah.
So we can run. We can run, right?
Yeah.
We can run. So it switched, it turned, and then like I said, I was a track guy. I was All-American in track at Florida State, man. So we did some work there. And so I was a 4.3. I was a 4.3 I was the fastest 40-yard dash guy in the NFL draft in 1981.
Dang, wow.
But like I said, and that's the thing that helped me, because I was small. The scouts would come watch me run track meets. I'll be out in Texas. Florida State will be out in Texas relays all over. They'll be there watching me run. So that really benefited me at the time. So it really now I'm looking at these corners now, man. 6'1", 6'2". I think Dallas took a guy who was 6'4" from Oregon State. It's crazy, man.
Yeah.
Corner, right?
That has changed. That part of the game is probably when I came in, is when they started getting more big corners.
Right.
I remember Herm Edwards. I interviewed him before the draft, and he just as tall as me. That was shocking. This man about 6'3", but then the little coaches started wanting those bigger corners to go against the bigger, faster receivers.
Right.
But back to what you were saying about, like, when I was younger, I got called. I was skinny. Now I was a skinny thing until I got to Atlantic. I started lifting a little bit of weights, but people told me all the time too, you too skinny. I want to play linebacker. I always want to be a backer. I want to hit somebody, bro.
You want to hit somebody, right?
Yeah, man. I'm like, I want to bang, but they were like, man, you too skinny. You too skinny. You too skinny. So like you said, so the minute I got a chance to, I started laying people out in Little League, man, and in high school it just carried over. So I was more like a backer or a safety playing corner when I got to UM. And then I wait to come around that edge, because I was gonna, I knock a joker out.
Knock him out, right?
And then, like you say, the track allowed me. I ran a 4.48, was probably the fastest I ever ran for the combine leading up into the NFL at 6'2", 208 pounds. So I was a big dude that was physical.
That's good.
And I could
run.
Good.
Right.
But that track, like you say, that track made me, not only gave me the good form and how to run with my confidence, knowing that I can run somebody down if I had to. You know what I'm saying? So that was, I'm like, when it came to 40, I'm like, I ran my whole life. Ain't nothing. I got to go 40 yards, whatever I got to do. So it wasn't no big deal to me, man. So that was, it's amazing just sitting here listening to you how I grew up watching you and hearing about you so much because you're from Boynton, but didn't know we had this much in common as far as how our careers kind of parallel, man. That's amazing.
Well, I tell you, everybody used to tell me about you, right? And it was like, I play safety and you play safety, right?
Yeah.
And you're the only safety I ever heard them talk about after I left. And Mike, we're 20 years apart.
Yeah, wow.
I graduated high school in 77, right?
Yeah, wow.
And so here's the deal. Here's the crazy deal about me, right? Now, I played quarterback. That was my position. I was a quarterback, right? That's what I was. I wasn't a safety. But I was a quarterback. right?
Yes.
And back then we just didn't get the opportunity to do that, right? And my senior year, I had 7 picks, 6 for touchdowns.
Wow.
Right? So here's what happened. I'm the fastest guy. I'm one of the fastest guys in Palm Beach County, right? And I played left safety. So depending on the formation, I'll be playing strong safety or free. So I never switch, right? I never switch to the other side, but most teams are right-handed. And I'm always playing against a tight end.
Yeah.
And they always want to throw that 5-yard out against me. And I'm like, are they watching the film? I mean, like every week they throw it, and every week I pick it off and go to the house. I'm like, all right, they ain't gonna throw that next week, right?
Yeah.
They're gonna do something different. They'll throw it again, and I'll go to the house again, right? So it was like taking candy from a baby, man. It was like stealing, man. It just wasn't right? It just wasn't right, man. But I did enjoy playing safety. I was like you. I played quarterback. I played safety. I was the punter. I was a punt returner. I was a kickoff returner. The only time I came off the field, Mike, was on the kickoff team. That was it. That was it. So it was a lot of fun for me. But if you ask me, what was your favorite position, I would say quarterback.
You said my favorite position?
Quarterback. I was a quarterback. When I played with Delray Rocks, I was a quarterback. When I was in high school, I played both ways. So I played both ways. Now we had a guy. I interviewed him not long ago named Mo Wesley. 5'8", 5'9" on a good day.
Yeah, I know Mo coaches.
Let me tell you something. He coached you? Let me tell you something, man.
Yeah, Mo coached at Atlanta for a little bit.
He's the best athlete I ever played with in my life until I played with Dion. Think about that.
Wow.
Think about all the guys I played with at Florida State. Think about that. Listen, that dude, so he played corner. He was a year ahead of me. He played corner. And he had 10 picks his senior year at Atlanta. And I used to watch him play, and I used to go, how does he do that, right? How does he play corner? He was really good. He could mirror guys. And I was just to be honest with you, I was a lazy safety. I was just hanging back to pick off an out pass, right? Our defense was so good, I didn't have to really work. Our defense was so good, I didn't have to work. But Mo Wesley, man, would shut the best receivers down, man. Like I said, he had 10 picks. He rushed for 1,000 yards on offense. He had 4 punt returns for touchdowns his senior year. And then he probably averaged about 21 in basketball. Baseball, he led the count out. He batted over 500 his senior year at Atlantic. I mean, and then if we can organize the baseball game with the track meet, he'll come over and get us some points on the track team.
Yeah.
He was that kind of guy, right? It was nothing he couldn't do. It was nothing he couldn't do.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was special.
We had you can hear me still?
I got you. I hear you.
All right. So we had the guy that was that talented guy that I thought would have been all world when I was coming out was Jason Matthews. He was a real talented receiver. And Jason was that guy who could play basketball, play receiver, play corner.
Okay.
And you would have saw it come out, you would have thought, what I'm saying? That was the guy that's going to be the first round pick. So we had a couple guys like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like that.
Now there was a guy played on your team with you. He wore number 11. I think he was a running back or receiver, something like that. I can't remember his last name. But it's been
Jason was number 1. Number 11.
He was really good. He played a good game that night. And I remember well because that was my jersey number when I was in high school, number 11. I said, who is this cat right here sporting my jersey? Oh. Yeah. So tell me this now. Tell me this real quick. When you were at Atlantic, name some of the guys you played with.
I had Jason Matthews, Mikey Yorker. Who else I played with? JC Cajuice, Gene June, Jeremy. I play with Jeremy Green. Dang, it was another boy that went to Colorado State, defensive end. I played with Mike Lawson before me. Mike Lawson was a year before me.
Okay.
I had Doug Parker.
I was going to ask you that you played with Doug. I think Doug was in that game that night. I saw you play. I think Doug was in that game.
Doug was younger than me. Doug me and Doug grew up together, so he was a little younger. But yeah, Doug was there. Yeah, we had a good little team, man. We had a nice team, man.
You had a good team.
That's how it all started, man.
Right.
Coach Bean coached me, man. Coach Bean was the receivers. I mean, it was a safety coach, and since my freshman year, I was starting, and I remember he kept telling me, he called me the puppy. He's like, puppy, you gotta get your angles right. He's like, you took geometry? I'm like, nah, sir, I ain't taking no geometry. He like, you keep missing on these. They kept running the slant. I kept taking the wrong angle. When I got them angles right, boy.
Oh, you were blasted them. You were blasted them.
Man, so I knew, like, I learned real quick that 3-step drop meant a quick route. So I slow my pedal down and break on them slants real fast. And I knew 5-step drop meant the deep post. So
deep post,
really, my senior year, they ain't run too many posts or slants. You know, most teams that knew about it. And the funny, you say you got your first concussion, you walked into another huddle.
Right.
I hit the joker so hard. He was in our huddle. He was in the huddle with his arm up like that. We like, bro, like, what you doing, man?
What you doing? I love it, man. I love it,
man.
Hey, so let me ask you this about the game today, right? So we talk about these kind of things. The game has changed so much, man. You know, do you think it's for the best, though?
You know, I think overall the change of the game is for the best. Like how to protect the quarterbacks. You know, how they want. You know, I know they want to see the offense score a bunch of points. So the 5-yard rule and you know a lot of the pass interference rules is tailored to help the offense put up points and get more people to watch the game, meaning more seats in the stadium, meaning, you know, more revenue for the game of the NFL.
Right, absolutely.
But I don't think it's fair. I think defensively you kind of get the short end of the stick, but if you want to entertain somebody, nobody want to see them 7-3 games and stuff like that. It won't be the same if it was like that. So I think for the fact that you got people that's coming from other countries that never heard of football and all about soccer, that can sit down and scream and look up to that Sunday and look up to that Monday night to watch them. You know how excited people get about that game, right? I got neighbors that don't barely speak English, but they know Monday Night Football is going to be some points scored.
It's going to be right.
Exactly. In order for the game, it's good. It's good for the game, man. I can't wait for Sundays and Monday to hang out with my family. And I come home, my wife and my mother-in-law, they big-time football fans. So I can pull up in the driveway and I can hear women screaming at the TV. Get him! Get him on the ground! And I'm like, man, like, what am I coming home to? But
that's crazy.
That's the thing. You got women watching the game.
You got women watching the game.
Nobody ain't watching them games.
Nobody. Right? That's true. Now, my wife loves the game too. She watches more than I do right now. I'm to the point now. I like to watch kids, right? So people say, "Well, you're not a Falcon fan." I say, "I wish them well, but I don't know anybody personally in that game." But when my son I had a son play. He played 6 years, wide receiver. I watch him. I watch the kids that he played with in high school. I went to Norcross High School. That's where my kids went to high school. And Alvin Kamara, you know, he went to Norcross High School. You know, we got about 8 guys in the league right now from Norcross High School. And so wherever they're playing, I watch those kids, right? That's what I do. But my wife can watch any game. Any game. She just all day long. I was like, girl. And so I've gotten to the point, Mike, where I start to ask her questions. Well, do you know this?
Yeah.
No. I said, why are you looking at it then?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And so she loved the game.
Do the same thing.
Yeah.
I used to get I don't know if you get this, but on the way home after the game, she be in the car. So what was number 27 doing? And why he ain't in? I'm like, man, look, listen, man. First off,
Right,
let me go. I like to watch the film first. Don't give me
right,
all
right,
that
right.
until
Let
I
me
see what's
evaluate
going
it.
on
Right.
the film. Second of all, you ain't no coach, man. Like, get out of my ear, and I'll be watching film at home, and she's like, rewind it back. Let me see. I'm like, man, come on,
Oh
man.
my
But
God,
yeah,
she's into it, man.
they swear
She's
they
into
know
it.
it, boy.
Oh, I love it, man. I
Yeah.
love it. So Mike, after your playing days, man, you went into coaching. I mean, you started coaching in high school, right? You coached at American Heritage. You was a D coordinator. You was a head coach there,
Yep.
right? And then Mark Rick called you in, man,
Yep.
and gave you a job at the U. What's that been like for you?
Oh, it was good, man. You just transitioning is a big thing. I think that from being a big time football NFL guy to
Mm-hmm.
humbling yourself and saying I'm a coach high school is first off a huge step. But
Mm-hmm.
luckily, I had the support of my wife and support of my family to say just do what makes you happy and what you want to do. And
Right.
just going, I started out coaching at a local high school and just
Mm-hmm.
doing the defensive backs, and then I worked my way up to American Heritage defensive coordinator and became a head coach at American Heritage and had a great time doing that. And
Mm-hmm.
then Coach Rick called me. So what happened was I called him and congratulated him because he's an alumni. I'm like,
Right,
congratulations with
right.
the job,
Absolutely.
and then three of my best players went to Georgia
Oh,
with Coach Rick.
okay. Okay. All
So
right.
Sony Michelle, my running
Right.
back,
Okay. All right. All right. All right.
Isaiah McKenzie is a receiver that
Mm-hmm.
came out of Georgia, came from Heritage,
Mm-hmm.
and then the kicker Marshall Morgan was a really good kicker for Georgia. So we
Okay.
knew each other through the recruiting process. That's how I
Right.
got to meet Coach Rick. And
Okay.
then when I called him and told him congratulations, he said, "Why don't you come up here
Mm-hmm.
and we could just hang out and talk." So I
Wow.
went up there, and it was the weirdest situation because as I'm walking up there, the former
Right.
staff was still there. And they
Ah.
looking at me like, man, you a savage. You just gonna come up here and you in the interview
Wow.
already? I'm like, bro, I'm
Right.
not doing no interview. I got on regular clothes. I'm not.
Right. Right. Right.
And we sat in there and he talked about life. He didn't mention one thing about football, man. That's what
Mm.
really, I know he's a Bobby Button disciple, and he just
Yes.
taught me
Mm-hmm.
about life,
Mm-hmm.
man. And
Mm-hmm.
he just said, Mike, I'm gonna hire a couple of guys here and coming
Mm-hmm.
up soon, and I want you to
Mm-hmm.
come back for an interview. And I ended up coming back, and Coach Diaz was the D coordinator that he hired, and
Right.
interviewed with him and Coach Diaz, and the rest is history, man. And Coach Diaz really,
That's
blessed
cool.
me and gave me an opportunity right along with Coach Rick.
That's cool. That's cool, man. That's cool. It's nothing like. First of all, I always say this. When you can't play no more, when you're done playing, the next best thing is coaching. Because it gives
Yeah.
you the opportunity to continue to compete, but now basically on an intellectual, platform, and then also help these kids grow and become better football players, right? And better men, right? And so football coaching is a calling,
Yeah.
man. It's a calling. And I can tell you this, I'll be 62 years old in a couple weeks. And other than my dad,
Wow, that's awesome.
everybody who's helped me in my life, all been football coaches, man. All been football coaches.
Yeah.
And at my age, the guys who coached me, they're in their
Yeah.
mid 80s now, right? And so last year we had a tough year, man. I had 3 coaches that died last year. And Bump Mitchell passed in 2018. And I don't know if you remember Bump Mitchell. He used to
Yeah, I
coach at
remember him.
Rocks, right?
Yep.
He was my first coach. Taught me a lot, man. As a little kid, 10-year-old kid, he taught me a lot. And
What about was Coach Benny with the Rocks then?
all right, let me tell you about Coach Benny. Coach Benny, all right, so I played with Bump Mitchell on the 80-pound. When I played 105, I played for a guy who just coached there 1 year. All right. When I went up to the big team, 130-pound at that time, 135, Benny came in as a 105 coach behind me. So I never played for Benny. But of course, I know Benny quite well, right? I know Benny quite well because he was on the coaching the 105 before I left the Delray Rocks. And then Benny played at Seacrest High School.
Yeah.
He played at Seacrest High School. So Benny.
I know that. My dad went to Seacrest.
Yeah, your dad went to Seacrest, exactly. So Benny played there, man. And so we go way back. He's a great guy. He's a great guy.
Oh,
He
okay.
started, see, we lost him last year. We lost him last
Oh
year. So
man, yeah, I heard
yeah,
that, man. I heard that.
yeah. That man, along
But
with Bump Mitchell, and did you know Bill Smith? Did you know Bill Smith? That name?
no, no, I don't know Bill Smith.
Well, Bill Smith is the guy
I
who
don't know that.
founded the Delray Rocks. He started the Delray Rock program in 1968. And we started playing, man, and the rest is
Wow, I didn't
history.
know that.
Yeah, matter of fact, I interviewed him. If you get some time, go back to the legend segment and look for Bill Smith. And we had a real good show,
Yeah.
just talking about the old days of Delray Rocks, how it all began. And Red Odom basically was there in the beginning as well. He started there in the beginning as well. So it was always good, man. And that was a good platform for us because back in the old day, previous to that, it was just street ball, right? And then some kids, Zach Strong, the funeral guy who just passed, and Delray, he should take kids out there to what we know as Pompey Park now. It should be called Teen Town Center back in the old days. And he would train kids and work with kids at a young age that way. And they would play against other people, stuff like that. And so it's just the evolution of youth football in our community. It was really good.
So hold on. So Zach Strong is related to me. That's that's my cousin is Dedrick Strong, and that's Zach's son, Leonard and Dedrick Strong. They're
okay.
Yeah, so my mom was Patricia Humos. My mom passed away in a car accident when I was about 8 months old, so I didn't grow up with my mom, but
okay.
My mom's side of the family is related to Zach Strong.
Oh wow.
I didn't know Zach used to do that at Pompey Park. I didn't know that.
Yeah, Zach did that, and then his son Randy Strong. Man, Randy Strong.
Yes.
Let's say this now. I don't know any ball players in Delray anymore, right? But this is what I know: Randy Strong and Prince Arafat. You heard the name Prince Arafat or Charles Ferguson? He played at Boca High from Delray. Played at Boca High with Mark Richt. You don't have two better linebackers come out of Delray than those two guys right there. I haven't seen them all, but I'm telling you, those two guys right there was on another level. And then guys like Jerome Burgess. You hear names like Burgess. Jerome Burgess was a great. Chuck Cunningham was a great linebacker. I'm talking guys who just knock a wall down and just wanted to put it on people, right? Man, a lot of great talent in Delray, man. A lot of great talent. So, Mike, if you can say one thing to kids today and parents today about this great game or about life, what would you say to them? What would you want to communicate to them?
I would say that you got to let the kid be a kid. These days I think the kids grow up really extremely fast, and let the kid try every sport. My dad being really a basketball guy, he made me try everything, man. I tried karate.
Right.
I tried everything, and he let me find out what I was good at, and he let me go out there and do it. So I think let the kid be the kid. Don't try to push them to be something that they're not. I got a son right now. He's actually right here next to me, and he is a tremendous athlete, but he came to me at 14 and said, "Dad, I want to make music. So I want to be an engineer. I want to do this." And I said,
right.
As long as you go as hard as you did with that football, you can do whatever you want to do. So
that's good. That's good.
A lot of people look at like your son should have been a football player. I'm happy and proud of what he is right now. So that don't bother me. And I think the second thing is that football runs along with life. I think football prepared me for the game of life. Just being around the coaches, like you said, I had so many coaches that picked me up and give me rides to practice and give me that talk. Like growing up with a dad, my dad gave me a lot of wisdom, but a lot of my coaches was the men that I was around that I learned things from, and I learned how to be and how to carry myself. So I think if you want to get your kid prepared for the game of life, I think get them on a team around other kids and learning how to be accountable, be on time. learning about work ethic, you know, and I think the most important thing is you get knocked down, you got to get back up. And
Absolutely.
people hate getting knocked down, and I'm talking about in life, but I tell my kids, man, it's almost sometimes it's good to get knocked down because you figure out a lot of things about yourself and about your situation, and you got to reevaluate things and get it right next time. So
Right.
I think that if you want something to prepare you for life, there's no other thing that you can prepare you for life like the game of football.
I totally agree with that 100%. And one of the things, what you're just saying, there are a lot of lessons to be learned when you get knocked out, right? A lot of lessons to be learned when you get knocked out. Well, man, that's powerful, man. Hey, listen, man.
It's like when you lose, you lose that game. When you winning all them games, you don't even watch that film that much. Like we won, and it's over with. You lose that game, I'm gonna watch that film 5 times. I gotta figure out what happened and how we get it fixed, man. But if you didn't lose, you wouldn't do that. So you don't lose, you learn. And I think that lesson right there, I learned that through the game of football, you know.
And you know, Mike, that's why it's so hard to go undefeated wire to wire. It's so hard to go undefeated wire to wire because you get complacent when you're winning all the time, right? You do get complacent. Well, look, man, thank you for being with me tonight, man. Appreciate you, man. Listen, man, you're always with me, man. You're always with me. You know, I love talking to the younger generations from my hometown. One thing I can tell you about me, I'm proud of where I come from. I love Delray, but I love Palm Beach County, period, right? And there's no place like home. And we got a strong tradition. We got a lot of great ball players, a lot of great people, period, not just ball players from Delray and Boynton. And so I just want to thank you for being with me tonight, man. And hey, you know, where we play y'all this year? We play y'all in Tallahassee this year, or we're in Miami this year?
Yeah, we come up to Tallahassee, you know what I'm saying? You know how we do when we come up there, man.
Nah. Hey, listen. It's time to turn the tide.
I don't know.
It's time to turn the tide this year.
No, hey, man.
Hey, we got some work to do, man. We got some work to do.
How about you bring me back on before that week? We about to come up there.
We're gonna do that. That's the plan. That's the plan. We're gonna do that. We're gonna do that, right? Hey, Mike, thank you so much again for being on the show, man. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our show for tonight. If you like the video, comment, share it with your friends. This is 100 Yards of Football, and this is our Legends segment, and we had the great Mike Rumph with us tonight.